So I'm at my local camera store and super lucky. I was here yesterday. They're having a big sale and the Tamron rep was here. And I've got the 12 to 22/8, a brand new lens. It's not out on the market yet. I think everybody's doing pre-orders. So he's let me take a few minutes to take some shots outside. Of course, I'm gonna take a shot of this really boring wall, but it's nice and flat and we should be able to see distortion. So here we go. I can almost touch this wall. I think that's a good sample set, and we'll take a look at what we shot here in just a moment. At 12 millimeters and wide open at f2.8, there is a noticeable vignette here. It does clean up as we stop down a little bit, and by f5.6, I didn't notice it. I'm impressed at how straight the lines are. We are really close to that wall, especially by f8. Everything looks nice and bright, and even while the corners maybe aren't tack sharp, I think they're usable most of the time. Depends a little bit on what you're using the lens for. For most of my work, this is more than acceptable. It's really neat. At 20 millimeters, I get really similar results that I did to 12. There's a vignette that goes away as we begin to stop down. The corners, while I think they are a little bit sharper maybe than the 12 millimeter end, still aren't perfect, but they're pretty good. Considering how close I am to the wall, I think expecting it to be tack sharp across from corner to corner is probably not possible. So I can't go off property, so I'm going to take some pictures of whatever we've got here, and I will show them to you here in just a sec. If you're not used to shooting ultra-wide lenses, composing with this is a little strange. Unlike a 35 millimeter or a 50 millimeter, where I pretty much know what I'm going to see when I look through the viewfinder, this got so much into the frame, many times I'd walk up to what I thought was going to be a great picture, look through the viewfinder and go, oh wow, I need to get a lot closer, or I need to change my composition a little bit, I need to move around. So, interesting challenge. This is hilariously wide. I mean, the tight end at 20 is wide. The 12 millimeter side is insanely wide. I should note that I did not get paid to make this, no sponsorship. I didn't even know they were going to have it at this event until I stopped by and then came back the next day after I chatted with them and got permission to go out and shoot. You may notice I'm looking down at the camera quite a lot. They had the Nikon mount version of this, and I am not a Nikon shooter currently, so it took me a little getting used to. But it was a fun experience, and I'm really glad to have a few minutes with this lens. Let's go do a brick wall test. This shot was another example of how challenging the framing can be on these. When I first lined up, I was getting mostly a picture of the bright blue sky, so I had to drop where I was focusing quite a bit to make the building the focal point of the shot. There is a ton of distortion here, but again, it's a wide angle lens and I'm very close to the building, so that's just kind of the nature of ultra wide lenses. It's kind of a fun shot though. The distortion isn't a problem with the lens, it's just pulling in things that you're so close to is going to cause some stretching. This next shot will show you how close I am to something and how much we can get. I kept forgetting that I didn't have a Bluetooth microphone on, that the only microphone was on the camera that was following me, and kept on turning away. I don't think I said anything important here, though, after the part that's kind of clear. So these were the straightest lines that I could find anywhere on the property, and very similar to the rock wall that we shot earlier, everything is pretty straight. There isn't a lot of distortion. There's a tiny bit of distortion just because I'm tilted upwards that needs something like a tilt shift lens to fix. So you could fix this in Photoshop. It wouldn't take that much to get the line straight up and down, but that's not a fault with the lens at all. There is a vignette again, and it does disappear as you begin to stop it down. The corners here again are not tack sharp, but as you stop down, they do improve, and in most cases, I think it's going to be just fine. At 20 millimeters, the lines look really straight. There's not distortion. The corners are a little soft wide open still, but stopping down improves that. And these are great looking images. This wide a lens is really hard to manufacture. It wasn't that long ago that a 12mm full frame lens was likely a fisheye. In these last two shots, I wanted to show what the difference between 12mm and 20mm looked like. It is a pretty noticeable difference, and I am not very far from the back of that tent, so we're pulling a lot of information in. None of these images has been edited at all. These are taken straight out of camera, run through a raw processor just to convert it to a JPEG. And then that's what you're seeing. And straight out of camera, there's good contrast here, there's good color. I think this is going to be a really fun lens to shoot. This is a fantastically wide lens. I think this is going to be a time-lapse, establishing shot, astrophotography dream. Excited to look at these when I get back to the computer. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We're a relatively new channel, and we're growing pretty well, and we appreciate the support. Good luck in your art journey, and we'll see you next time.